In the last Congress, Chairwoman Green literally showed a pic in our oversight congressional hearing, so I thought I'd bring one as well. Now this, of course, we know is President Elon Musk. He's also the world's richest man. He was the biggest political donor in the last election. He has billions of dollars in conflicts of interest, and we know that he is leading a power grab also abided by and encouraged by Donald Trump and, of course, the chairwoman, Congresswoman Green. But I also want to run through what Doge actually is going to do. It's a demolition plan that's going to run through our government.
You ever have a girlfriend who was just a nutball, and every time you went out took her to Red Lobster someplace nice, she acted like a nutball, and you end up having to defend her? That's what Democrats have to feel like this. Every single night, they go home and have to defend all this insanity that the American people want cut. Right now, it's amazing. Joining me now, I'm sure he's enjoying this whole disaster, Congressman Tim Burchett, Republican from the great state of Tennessee, and he's on the House Oversight Doge subcommittee. You have to be loving this one, Congressman, watching these people defend government waste.
Yeah, and corruption. It's beyond belief, really. It's hard to imagine how far the Democratic Party has slipped and how they think this is the appropriate way to act. If they were smart, they could redeem some points with the public by saying, "Hey, this is the old guard. We're getting rid of them. This is the new," and it's these young ones that are falling on their sword and acting as if that's carrying them anywhere. I mean, even MSNBC is pulling off some of these guys and these tactics. So it's just, the only thing I can think of is that they've lost everything. They've lost the middle class. They're losing black and brown voters, and now they're just trying to shore up that last little bit of Marxism or anarchists that are in their party. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, that's what it looks like from the outside. It looks like from the outside, their wacko, dirty commie bottom have taken over the party. Was it, and I realize this is not your party, right? It's not our problem, but was it Nancy Pelosi who was, I mean, as much as we all dislike her, myself included, was she the one just kind of holding everything together? And when she got too old, done with the whole thing, handed the reins to Hakeem Jeffries, it all came apart? Because that's kind of what it looks like from the outside looking in.
Yeah, I'd say so. I can't imagine her running these people off the cliff if she thought she had any chance of regaining a majority back, because that's exactly what they're doing. Nobody is defending taxpayer money for transgender surgeries in Central America. Nobody is defending comic books for the LGBTQ whatever to be given to kids, except for members of Congress. Nobody. I'm not hearing anybody out there. And the scare tactics they have are so weak. They had some paid protesters today that were protesting something that was cut, and it turned out that wasn't even cut. That was put back in. I mean, that tells you just how out of step they are, and they're going to bring the fear. They brought, I had some poor guy in my office today claiming he was from my hometown, and he wasn't. They even had him in orange, because UT is the big orange, and. And I confronted him, and the guy started crying. I'm like, man, they're gonna have to get some better paid protesters than this. It's beyond belief. Oh. And they're gonna talk about how we're cutting. They're gonna find some program somewhere, vaccinations or something for newborns or something like that. And it's just, it's beyond belief. And they, of course, any of the Catholics that are in the room, they're funding abortions, and there's just nobody left for them not to offend.
Yeah, they really have just turned themselves into the party of freaks. It's wild to watch it, and I'm glad you actually corrected me in the beginning, Tim, when I called it waste. The truth is, a lot of this stuff is just fraud. I mean, that's what it is. Obviously, at the local level in this country, politicians are just as corrupt, but that's where you'll get the envelopes full of cash. At the federal level, you start a nonprofit, and of course, your cousin's brother's uncle goes and works for a cutout from the nonprofit and goes and clears $500,000 a year, all with our money. This is fraud. It's corruption.
Absolutely. I like to say their wife and or girlfriend works for one of these agencies. But I suspect here in the next little bit, you heard it first here. I suspect they're going to start drawing the paper trail back to members of Congress. That will be the next avenue, and then you'll see. I was talking to a pretty knowledgeable person just a few hours ago, and they said the number one searched topic or whatever in Washington D.C. On government computers is criminal defense attorneys.
Ooh. Well, I've called it a criminal government for some time. It about tells you everything you need to know. Okay, I want to switch gears and talk about something that sounds amazing. I have some concerns, but it sounds amazing. Letters of marque? What are we going to do with the cartels here, Congressman?
Well, the president, if he can't allow troops in our country to do anything really. It has to be outside of the country, and this allows him to hire folks that have a history of this, of being able to handle these type of situations to go after these cartels, and it's something that the Trump administration I think would probably like to have. These cartels are so ruthless. They're the sex trafficking, the little kids, organ harvesting, but they control some of our borders, and they've got members in California that are on that are even elected to office. So it's it just allows him to commission a private armed and equipped folks to seize persons and property of any cartel member or cartel linked organization. And I think it just takes the gloves off. And I know people are going to freak out over it, but we don't need the bureaucracy. We need people to go after them. These people are ruthless, and playing by UN rules will get people killed, get Americans killed.
So are we talking PMCs here, I'm assuming? We get some former SEAL types, some Delta boys out there with some boats and handle some things? Is that the kind of thing you envision with all this?
I really do. I remember a few years back.
Sweet.
And people are going to freak out, but I'm over it. We're not dealing with some little gangbangers or something, holding their guns sideways, shooting at you on some street in California or something. This is the real deal. These people have automatic weapons. They're not following the rules of Queensberry or anything. These are some first-rate military thugs, and you surrender, you die to these people. And we need to put some people that are qualified to handle that kind of operation. And the president needs some freedom to do it, because we're not you got to realize too, you're dealing with a corrupt government. Mexico's corrupt. Come on. Who even thinks that? Anybody that goes on vacation, I tell people, these missionaries and everybody, they go down there, I say, please don't go down there. Just don't go down there. Don't go to the resorts. Don't go to anything. And people die down there. They get electrocuted. They get poisoned. It's a bad setup out there. You think you're going to go down there and hang out and smoke some weed and buy a sombrero, and you might end up getting killed.
Yeah, you can do all that in America anyway. All right, one final thing, the negotiations, the budget negotiation. Not that I would, Congressman, I'm just saying you can do that here. You don't have to risk it in Mexico.
I know that what you're saying. You're saying hypothetically.
That's right. That's right. I should have threw the air fingers quote in there. You can do it here.
No, officer. Hypothetically.
All right, the spending. One final question, the spending bill. Chip Roy, my friend Chip Roy's been giving us updates on it. It sounded like negotiations were ongoing. Now, as a red-blooded American who hates the size of this government, I'm used to hating every single bill, omnibus bill that comes out. I've never liked one ever. They all look horrible to me. How horrible is this one going to look?
You'll hold your nose probably on it. It's my biggest problem is all this money we're saving with Doge and all this stuff. We're going to go turn right around and give it to the war pimps at the Pentagon. I would think under a more efficient Pentagon, we could spend a little less money and do things better. Currently the Pentagon has failed the last 8 audits. They haven't even completed them. They can't find $500 billion. That is one half of an aircraft. $500 billion is an aircraft carrier that they can't find. And we're going to punish them by giving them more money. It's just out of control.
They lost an aircraft carrier. Well, at least they didn't run the one they lost into a merchant vessel. Congressman, as always, thank you so much. I'll talk to you again soon. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.